I'm Trent, and this is Vision Preparedness. Good evening, everyone. I hope everybody is doing fantastic. And I must say to everybody right now, happy Independence Day to you all. Hope everybody's having a great evening. Thank you for coming in. Who we got in here? Bats, good to see you, my friend. My man from the Erie North Coast. Mad Shad, one of my amazing moderators. Good to see you, my friend. She said in the house, good to see you. Fish Sticks, welcome in. Teresa, good evening and hello. I hope you're doing well tonight. Loretta, there you are. Could not do a live stream without you tonight, Loretta. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a blessed day as well. Good to see you. My man, Ghost Lincoln in the house. Canna John, good evening, my friend. I hope you are doing well today. Another one of my amazing moderators, Fed Up American. Good to see you, my brother. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a great day today. Again, Fallen Skies, Homesteading and Preparedness channel. Good to see you, my friend. Welcome in, welcome in. My man, there he is, Mass Hole in the house. Good to see you, Dan H. Hope you're doing well tonight, my friend. Hope you had a great Independence Day. And then there is the most famous name on YouTube today. Coffee first. Then speak. Good to see you. I hope you're having a great Independence Day as well. Who else we got up in here? Y'all just keep pouring in and pouring in. Loving life. Good to see you, family. Hope you're having a wonderful day as well, and good to see you today. Then there's my brother, the Virginia Bushcrafter. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're having an amazing day as well. Yes, indeedy. My Renaissance Grandma is in the house. Hello. Hey, happy Independence Day to you too. Hope you're doing well. TX Lala in the building. Good to see you. Cheryl Faulkner. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Teresa. Good to see you as well. Also. Cassandra's South Fulton Garden. Good evening and welcome. I hope you are having a fantabulous Independence Day Tuesday. Good to see everybody in here. Regional Sky Girl, there she is. I hope you're doing well wherever you are within these United States of America. I hope you're enjoying your Independence Day. Good to see you as well. And thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming in. Papa Pug, good to see you. Good to see you. Watching from my big rig in New Jersey. Be safe, and I appreciate you tuning in, Papa Pug, for sure. Hope you're having a great Independence Day and staying safe. Thank you for the 5x5, Dan. I appreciate it. I truly appreciate it. Happy Mac, welcome in. Welcome in. Jones Truth, welcome in as well. Good to see everybody in the house. Paper Buttons 19. My goodness, they just keep coming in and coming in. And good to see everybody. Anybody do any amazing cooking today? Because we have an amazing guest with us. and our amazing guest deserves some amazing cooking from the community. ARD, did I see ARD in the house? Did he sneak in? There he is, my man. A resilient dad tapping in from the Bay with much respect. Grills up in 5. I know that's right, resilient dad. I know that's right. I hope you and your family, my brother, are having a great Independence Day as well. Cheryl says she worked today. All right. Pretty Prepper, welcome in, welcome in. Good to see you. Hope you're having an amazing Independence Day as well. I haven't even started cooking yet, and I think I'm going to keep it simple and do a couple of steaks and call it a night. She said, good to see you. Yes, you made it. Welcome. Now we can get started. Happy Max said, I did some amazing eating. I know that's right, my brother. Good job, good job. I worked in the yard all day, did some trimming, planted some peppers, attended to the tomato garden, then it rained, and then it stopped, and then it got humid, and then it got crazy. But anyway, with that, folks, the title today, Having a Ready Bag and What's Your Plan? We have a special guest with us today who is an amazing guy in his own right, and a very good friend. If you were at the Bug Out Weekend, folks, you probably met him, ran into him, had him show you something or tell you how to do something or helped you put something together or whatever. But he did an amazing mini course for us talking about ham radios. And without further ado, folks, I'm going to bring up our guest, the Prepared Irishman. Good evening, my brother. How you doing?
Great, great. How's everybody doing in chat? I'm seeing a lot of names that are familiar. It's really weird being on this side of the camera.
Exactly. A Brazilian dad said tuna steaks today, keeping to the diet. How many did you eat? Because I would probably have to eat 4. Dan H says, Vision, you better throw Junior some crackers or something. He might start gnawing on the furniture if he gets too hungry. You got that right, Dan, but he'll survive because I pacified him with a whole bunch of healthy snacks, and he'll be just fine until it's time to eat. Regional Sky Girl said it's 105 in her current location. I'm not even getting off of the couch. That's insanity.
Is that in Texas?
I would assume it's somewhere south. I can tell you that because currently here in Ohio, it is 85 degrees, folks. So there you go. Please stay hydrated, Regional Sky Girl, folks. When it gets to double digits, triple digits, you gotta stay hydrated. Good to see you, Joe. Welcome in. So with that, the Prepared Irishman, introduce yourself. Tell the folks a little bit about yourself before we dive into our topic tonight.
Okay. I started prepping a while ago. I really didn't know anything, didn't care about prepping. And a couple things happened. And I just started with ham radio and I kind of progressed into other things. Survival, been to a couple of survival schools. I belong to a couple of groups. And more recently, I started Instagram and I'm just starting a YouTube channel. Have 1 or 2 videos on it. It's a learning curve. I watch you guys go up on the screen here, and you make it look easy. So I'm having fits with the camera and the editing. So it's coming, but it's taking a little bit. But that's basically me in a nutshell. I kind of go out to events like your event, Mike's from Hudson Valley, and a whole bunch of others because I want to network with people. And I'm still learning myself. I want to learn. If you got something, that I can learn from, I want to learn from you guys.
Yeah. And folks, I was just going to say, the Prepared Irishman, if you need to know, and I've learned so much from him, and I haven't even gotten close to what I need to know, but he did some amazing stuff with tarp shelters. I just sat there and was like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. And he makes beds. He does bushcraft and all this other stuff. Magic, welcome in. Sister Marie's Kitchen, welcome in. And everybody else that slid in here and I did not get a chance to speak to, welcome. Come on in, settle down. You guys know what to do. Up in the corner of the chat is the question box. It's if you have questions for either one of us, you can click in there, type in your question. We'll get to it in the live stream. Also, for the content creators in the chat, if you type the word vision, it will drop a link to your channel. Folks, check out these other people if you haven't checked them out. Go check out a video, like the video, leave a comment. You can just tell them Vision sent me. And if you like what they're doing, subscribe to their channel, folks. That's how we all grow. So with this Prepared Irishman, it's interesting. This is a twofold topic, and having a ready bag, and what's your plan? And we all hear about go bags and get home bags and inch bags and whatever kind of bag under the sun, But what do you think is more important?
Which bag?
No, of this topic. I'm sorry. Of this topic, having a ready bag, and what's your plan?
I think everybody should have a bag. I belong to several groups. I've had arguments about people who do not want to have a bag, and they're going to stay in. They're going to hunker in. All the supplies are there. No matter what, they're staying there. And my argument against that, I believe that you should kind of stay where you are as long as you can. But there's always a but. What if there's a fire, a wildfire, a gas leak, a tornado, hurricane? Those would be reasons why you should have a bag and you should be able to leave. As far as plans go, when I'm talking to people, let's say who are starting off, I always kind of assess their situation, like their skill level, because that's going to determine how the bag is made. Their physical ability, what they can carry and what they can't carry. So that determines on the weight. Their budget can cost a lot of money. Then I'll ask them, like, all right, do you have a location? And the big one, and we both agree on this, is the plan. You got to have, a great plan. That's the most important thing. If you're trying to build a bag, it's hard to build a bag without a good plan.
Right.
How far are you going? Who's going with you? How are you going to get there? If you have to walk it, I hear people say, I can walk 3 miles per hour. Okay, I believe you. But what about an elderly parent, a young kid that's going with you, somebody who's just, not in the best shape? All of a sudden, that trip changes dramatically. So once you get all this information, you can start getting that big picture and start developing that bag.
Right. So and I agree with you 100%, because I'm under my opinion on bugging out, bugging in. I'm bugging in. Only way I'm leaving my house is if it's on fire and I can't put it out. And then I have a plan B of what needs to go in the truck and how quick I can get all that stuff in the truck and everybody else, and we're out and gone. Modi Soldier, welcome in. Good to see you. So let's talk about, before we get to the bag, let's talk about the plan. Let's start at square one. And folks, again, if you have questions, please put them up, hit the question box, or type it in all capitals in the chat and put QQQ in front of it, because y'all know me, I rarely pay attention to the chat. I can't say enough. I don't see everything because I'm giving our guest my full attention, and we're diving in this topic to give you guys great information. So let's start with the plan first. So the plan is, I'm bugging out. What do I need to do?
Okay. The first thing I would say, who's going with you? You want to have that determined. When are you going to go? I think this is a big thing too. Having like indicators. So because indecision is kind of going to be, oh, should I leave? You know, like let's say it's a hurricane. We've had them out here. I live in Long Island, New York, and I was speaking to Coffee first. She lives somewhere out here too. So it's kind of cool. We kind of got, you know, we're talking about it. But anyway, so, you know, we've had so many warnings about hurricanes. You kind of become complacent. So what you want to do is develop indicators telling you like, if this, and this happens, that's the line in the sand. I'm gone. Now, a next question, and it depends on, you know, the particular person. How are you going to leave?
Right.
It should be car, obviously. You know, do you have a kit for your car? Is it readily available? Or are you going to spend like 6 hours trying to pack your car? In your bug out weekend,
yeah,
I was watching a lot of people, and it was fun afterwards to listen to some of the shows. Some other people have channels as well. And they were saying, like, you know, I should have been more organized. I should have been this. I should have been that. That was, they learned something from that. And I totally agree. So having that kit ready. And then, of course, when that breaks down, let's say you can only get so far with that. That's when those bags come in, and they have to be spot on. The better the plan, the better the bag, the better your chances.
Right. And you're absolutely right. So, folks, if you're going by car, pre-stage your stuff in your garage. So you're not lugging everything, you know, from throughout the house in the basement and taking up more time. Pre-stage your stuff in your garage if you can, or somewhere close that it can be put into the vehicle and enough room for everybody that's going with you. So go ahead.
So a good tip would be like if you get those like plastic tote boxes or duffel bags, and you just organize them the best you can. So when you leave, also having a list, you're going to be put under a lot of stress. So if you can have, one of the things I talk about is having a binder with, you know, everything you need, medical, you have problems, you know, diabetes, whatever, heart problems, maps, your main routes, your alternate routes. But one of those things should be a checklist. So when you leave, that comes out, and all of a sudden, I need to get this, and this, check them off. So this way, you know, you have everything in the car and ready to go.
Right. And believe it or not, that's what I did for the bug out weekend. I had a list of everything that had to go. And as I was packing stuff in the truck and everything, I was asking the COO, check this off, check this off. Is everything on the list checked off? And she would say, no, we need this. And then I would go get it and put it in the truck. But folks, have a checklist of everything you need to take with you. You know, if you can pre-stage it in totes, that will make it 100% easier. And you can even do something like this, because I did this by myself, and now I'm going to do it with my son. I timed myself to see how long it would take me to pack my truck with stuff to get out. And it took me 20 minutes to get the essential things that I would need for myself and the family to get out of the house. I suggest you guys do that too. You know, but like you said, Irishman, a binder is a great way to go, because in the binder you can keep important documents, checklists, like you said, maps, everything you need to get out at a moment's notice.
Yeah, and another point to that emergency binder, having a hard copy is great. You know, laminated or something waterproof in case, God forbid, your pack gets wet, and that's where you should keep it.
Right.
But also, too, you can put it in your phone, so it's with you all the time, and a PDF, a thumb drive, stuff like that. But lots of times, I'll leave my binder alone, and then I'll come back to it. I'll watch somebody, and I'll be like, "Wow, I didn't think of that. That's a great idea. I should add that in." So, work on that. And then you just pointed out a great thing. Yeah, you have this plan. All right, but does it work? When was the last time you tested it?
Yeah.
So, like you said, you timed yourself because all of a sudden something happens.
Yeah.
Where I live, bugging out would be extremely challenging.
Yeah.
Especially if I leave. I'm on Long Island, on the island, Long Island, New York. So
Okay.
I would have to cross over some bridges. So unless my bug out indicators are key, unless I know something before the general public does, I'm probably not being able to get off the island. I would have to go further out east, somewhere a little bit safer.
Right. So, I'm trying to remember Long Island. How many ways in and out are on Long Island?
All right. So trying to think here. You got the Verrazano and the Throgs Neck.
Okay.
And then the other ones, GW, and then the other ones go through Manhattan, the Lincoln Tunnel, the
Hmm.
Holland Tunnel.
Okay.
But I mean, it's basically you're being funneled through these points. I mean, I have a spot where it would seem logical, but like I said, it's if I do go, it would have to be before the general public knows. Otherwise,
Right.
I'm going to drive out and then find out I can't get across.
Yeah. And you just mentioned a key point, folks. As a prepper in the community, in the prepping community, we try to stay ahead of the curve. And like the Irishman just said, he would have to leave before the masses knew anything about it. That's the only way he could get out without a bottleneck and everything else. So keeping your eyes and ears, and you've heard me say it 1,000 times, listen to what is not being said and listen to what's being said so you can make a point when you need to get out and get out before the masses get out. That way you're not sitting in traffic for whatever reason.
The other thing I would add to that
Uh-huh.
is when you do your plan, there's a term called area study. I don't know if most people have heard it, but basically it's all the information about where you are, where you're going, and everything in between. So you have an idea of what type of terrain you're going through. Is it hilly, mountainous, desert, whatever, suburban, urban, rural, crime rate? It matters. You're going through
Right.
certain areas where there's a high crime activity
Right.
during an event. It's going to be even that much worse. And when you talk about my situation, there's a lot of gangs and stuff around these areas where these choke points are. So it's that much more riskier to get out that way.
Right. Exactly. Now, me being out here in the rural area I'm in, I may do a reconnaissance and just drive through the community, to see what the sheriff is doing and my neighbors and everybody in our community and go from there and then maybe I may come back home.
There's actually there's some apps on it. I forget the name of them. That in some of the cities they'll show you where the gang activity is.
Yeah.
What gangs specifically? Is it perfect? No, but kind of gives you a basic idea of what's out there.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So, folks, the most important thing, folks, is to have a plan. Black Guns and Gardens, good to see you, my brother. Welcome in. Welcome in for everybody else that I missed coming in, because we are talking about having a ready bag and what's your plan. And first thing we are tackling is the plan, because we both have agreed that the plan is the most important thing. Now, in my case, and this is just my case, some of you may be in the same situation. If there's a SHTF event, there's two people I have to go get. One is my mother. The second one would be my son if he's in college, if he's at college, if he's at school. I got to go get him. And in that case, I have I have a ready bag that is specific for that I am grabbing and going, but I'm coming back. It has everything in it I need to go get both of them and for us to get back home.
And we were talking about this before we went on.
Yeah.
Our situations are similar. I have parents a little up there in age, and I have two kids in college. One's going away, and one's, I guess you would say, local. I don't think it's that local, but
Right.
and these things cross your mind. You should have some type of plan if it goes down. I think the most kind of difficult one is your parents, because think about it. If your parents are up there, I mean, look, we're up there.
Yeah.
If they have to go by foot, could they? You got to ask these questions.
No.
So I mean, it's it would be definitely a tough decision to say, hey, do I pick up my parents, or is it not going to happen because I can't? They're not going to make it.
Right. I gotta go. Yeah.
These are questions that you have to ask yourself now, because when the time comes, you're going to be killing yourself, beating yourself up with guilt and everything else.
Yes, folks. And that may be the tough decision that we will be faced with. I mean, I may have a child in another state that I can't get to. Fortunately, I may know somebody in that state that can either get to them or they can get to their location and go from there. And that's part of my plan.
I'm laughing because I just looked at the chat. Miss D's Hollywood Garden, no safe route out of New York City would be a problem.
There you go.
And you know what? Look, I know I've heard every single time I have a conversation with somebody. Oh, where do you live? Oh, I live in New York. Oh, like I already know it's coming. I grew up here. My parents are here. We're actually talking about this. Maybe I'm committed here for the next probably 3 to 4 years. Maybe after that, I'm definitely thinking about leaving. But it's tough. I have things kind of keeping me here. So
right.
I have to do the best I can with what I got.
Yeah. And loving life, yes. I made my son a ready bag. And when I drop him off at school, I told him, I said, this backpack goes under your bed. You do not touch it unless there is an emergency and you have to leave your dorm. You grab it. Everything he has in it everything he needs is in that pack.
I'm just laughing at coffee first. I'm going to need a bigger boat. It's a reference for Jaws.
Exactly. That is a reference from Jaws. I'm going to need a bigger boat.
And you know what? I mean, living on the island, that's been a thought, a thought too, getting a boat and leaving. I mean, trust me, you go through all avenues, and now's the time to do it for your plan. But you are right. The plan is crucial. No matter where you are, having a plan and then doing the plan, seeing if it works. If it doesn't work, make adjustments, make it work.
Yeah, folks, your plan should always be flexible, and because, like I told my mom, I said, Mom, it may be a good idea if you just have a bag with just clothes in it sitting in your bedroom. And then the next thing out of my mouth was, then you can grab your jewelry box. Because I know she's not leaving whatever her jewelry is. And I said, that's it. I'm coming to get you. Those are only 2 things you need to walk out of that house with. There's nothing else in that house that can't be replaced.
Agreed.
Yeah. And I told my son, everything in it, everything in his pack, he has everything in it that even if cell phones go down, he can still talk to me. So, and we'll touch on some of that stuff once we get to the bag. But the plan, folks, your plan should be flexible and adjustable, and go through it. Run the plan. Pick a Saturday morning and say, hey, we're going to do our bug out plan and see how long it takes us to pack the car. Do it.
Absolutely. And, people talk about walking these distances. Let me tell you something. I haven't hiked now in a little bit, and like the way I used to. But, man, I know after 6 miles, I can still go a lot more, but
Yeah.
that's the point where, all right, I'm warmed up. I'm starting to feel it a little bit, and you're going. Now when people throw 20, 30 miles, is it doable? Yeah, certain people can do it, but not everybody can. So you got to
Not
know what
everybody.
your limits are.
Yeah. And I'm with you. I could probably do that too. And then after that, I'm gonna have to find somewhere to hold up and hunker down for a minute. And get myself recharged and ready to go. Rip curl, rip curl readiness, vision prepared. What? You don't have your mom armed up, ready to go? Rip, I do. Okay, but I'm going to get her. She knows what to do if somebody comes in that house. I'll say that. But I am her transportation out. And like I've always told her, I'm coming in hot and I'm coming in heavy. So yeah, but she can handle herself until I get there. I can say that. Tori's brain, good to see you, my brother. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. FSP, good to see you as well. Sonia, I don't think I spoke to you. Good evening and welcome in. I hope you're doing well. Ray, good to see you, my friend. Hope you are doing well tonight as well. And everybody else that came in that we didn't get to speak to because we're talking about having a ready bag. What is your plan? So, especially nowadays, kids can't wait to get out the house and move away or do whatever. Some do, some don't. But mine is chomping at the bit. And I think reality sunk in last week for him. So
And you.
he's on the fence, but he's ready to do his thing. But fortunately, he's only an hour away. So that's a good thing. But folks, again, if you have questions, let me check the question. Oh, we got tons of questions. Look
Oh,
at this.
okay.
So we got a question from Paul J. Conroy Sr. At the Prepared Irishman, ever looking to try to get down into the Barneys if you need to?
The Bernies? I'm not following.
Yeah, Barneys, Bareens. I'm not
Not
sure,
sure. Just
Paul.
clarify that for me.
Yeah, Paul, can you clarify that question, and we'll come back to it. Dan H asks you. You can also jump out of the island by boat, right?
Yeah, trust me, I belong to several groups, but one like kind of main group. And look, we've went down all avenues. I don't want to discuss stuff, what I'm going to do exactly, but trust
Right.
me, we've talked about every single thing. I always think of escaping here like kind of that movie Escape New York.
Yeah.
So it is challenging. I mean, like I said, when you have to where you are, it wouldn't be easy, but it'd be easier in my opinion because you got open land. You're in, there's not a lot of people near you from what you've, discussed with me. So it's a little
Exactly.
easier. With me,
Right.
there's millions of people around here.
Correct. Yeah. So Paul says Barneys, Pine Barneys,
Pine Barrens. Okay. Yeah.
Pine Barrens. Okay.
Yeah, we've looked at all different areas. We have people in certain locations where it's lesser people and more resources. The only thing is if you go to the woods, how many people can actually sustain themselves in the woods, indefinitely? I mean, I can definitely do it short term, a couple days, a couple weeks, but
Yeah.
the one thing I'll bring up is you watch these survival shows, right? And I went to Canterbury's and I got my ass handed to me. Great school, great learning experience.
Yeah, Dave Canterbury is the best. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
The skills I kind of was ready for. I kind of prepared before I went there. It was some of the other things. Lack of sleep. No food. Water you can have, but only when you're at the camp because you don't have time to process water when you're out there. So you're constantly going. But anyway, you see these guys. Who's the guy? He's on YouTube. Cole Cracker. He was one of Dave's students. He went on. He went on a show, and I know for a fact he's the real deal. And you saw him when he came back. I think it was
Yeah.
like what, 40 pounds lighter or something
40
like that.
pounds lighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. He lost 40
he's
pounds.
legit. So if a guy like that is having a hard time out there, what about an average person like me or yourself or somebody else? How
Yeah.
long would they last out there? So that's
Exactly.
something you would want to, I mean, short term, maybe if there's a lot of social unrest, you got to leave your house for whatever reason, you don't have a place to go. Maybe you wait it out for short term, but indefinitely, no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Jones Truth says, what about camo clothes? Should you at least have some?
I know I wore a camo shirt at your thing, but I'm not a big fan of that because think about it.
Yeah.
If you're out in the woods, I guess, maybe you kind of stay hidden, but if you're in the suburbs and stuff like that, I'm not a big fan of the gray man thing. You see
Yeah.
my bag. There's no
Yeah.
way I can make that into a gray man thing.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's okay.
Well, it's, when I went through my bag,
Mm-hmm.
based on where I live,
Mm-hmm.
right now it's not as hot as you, but man,
Mm-hmm.
it's freaking humid out here.
Yeah.
But during the winter time, it can get pretty cold. So
Yeah.
I pack for those worst case, possibilities. So my bag's bigger. I try to keep it light. My bag's deceptive. It's big, but it's
Exactly.
light.
Your bag weighed, how much did your bag weigh?
34 pounds. It didn't have the tarp in it because this
Right.
is too lazy to take it back down. You could add combat to that so to bring it back up.
Right.
But,
So
I hiked with it. So
right. And here's the thing. Your bag was bigger than my bag. My bag was heavier than yours. Mine weighed 41 pounds.
yeah, but your bag had some things in there that is deceptive.
Yes.
I could, after having a
Exactly.
proper conversation. Oh,
Exactly.
okay.
Yeah. Yes.
So your bag was actually probably lighter. If you take that stuff out of it, it was lighter.
Correct. It would have taken 10 pounds out easy.
I would say each item, probably about 8 pounds.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
And put
so we got another
between the lines.
Exactly. and that's why I carried that, because I wanted real life scenario.
Yeah.
Period. Yeah.
That is a huge, when we talk about bags, and we're kind of getting away from, but it's still part of the plan, right?
Right.
I guess we'll get into that in a little bit, but
we
when
will
we talk about like that aspect of bags, that's weight.
Yes.
If you carry a weapon, a rifle.
Yes.
Look, depending on what you have, roughly, and I know there's some people out there who tell us about 8 pounds, a magazine, maybe a pound per magazine, maybe.
Yep.
You add a plate carrier to that,
Yep.
all of a sudden, you're carrying some significant weight.
Yes. So we got another question from Rip Curl Readiness. He asks, what do you think are the top 5 prep items?
Prep items?
Yes.
Or bag items?
He's saying top 5 prep items, and his question continues with, and then top 5 skills, last top 5 firearms and the last question, top firearms to have. So he wants to know top 5 preps, top 5 skills, and then weapons.
Food, water, shelter.
Yep.
That's right off the top of my head.
Yep.
Some type of security, right? You got to be able to defend it. That's 4. And then I guess skills. The more skills you have, the more flexible you are. So those are the 5 top. And what was the rest of it?
His last question is top 5 firearms to have.
I'm not really a huge firearm. I live in New York, so I'll kind of pass on that.
Rip, I would say this, and first of all, everybody has their favorite, so you definitely would want some type of firearm on your side, hand some type of hand weapon. Shotguns work. Please don't. Shotguns work well. Eli is my go-to, and then some type of rifle, 1 or 2. I'll say that. Depending on where you are, you may be a bow guy. You may be a crossbow guy. It just depends. Um, as Dan says, you should always add the weight of your freedom dispenser in additions to your bag. That way you will have an actual weight. You may have to hide it and you know the weight total. And that's exactly what I did, Dan, at the bug out weekend. Yes. Yeah.
You know what? And I would say it's a tool. So
Yeah.
depending on your circumstances, what's the best tool for what you're walking into? And you know what? It's good to have backups and stuff, but you don't want to get carried away either. Because like I said, it's significant weight. But something I would say, you cannot, if you're going a significant distance, you cannot carry enough food, water, ammo, whatever. So something that's probably popular, 5.56, 2.23, something like that, where it's a big seller. Your chances of stumbling across that. I would also say, and this is big on Mike's channel, Hudson Valley. Caches are huge too. So
I was just getting ready to say that. Maybe along one of your routes, you have a cache of stuff that you have there that you can pick up on the way. Official J Mia, welcome in. Who I saw somebody else. Miss Shirley OG Gardner, welcome in. I saw somebody else. Penny Prepper, welcome in. But yeah, folks, whatever your plan is, whether it's by car or walking, make sure that you have everything you need for the situation of either where you're at or the situation you may come upon. And, in your route to wherever you're going, and keep in mind, folks, if you're bugging out, you have to have a distinct definition and destination. Because if you're just saying, well, if my house, I'm leaving. Okay, where are you going? If you don't know where you're going, you're now a refugee, and you just put your life, and if anybody's with you, their life at a higher risk than if you'd have stayed at home.
Well, think about it. Where are you going? If you don't have that answer, how do you build that bag?
Yes.
How many? All right. So how fast do you walk? If it's 2 miles per hour and you walk for about 12 hours a day, chances are you're going to be stopping. So it's more like 10 and 2 hours. That's a very easy number that I'm throwing out there as far as like very easy for me to say. But that's 20 miles a day. Day one would be great. Day two, you're going to be feeling it. I don't know if you're good. Most people can't make day three, but now all of a sudden, how many days food do I need? How much water do I need? Yeah. Those caches come into play. I mean, having routes. What happens if you're going down your first route, your primary route, and something happens and you got to go to your alternate or your contingency route?
Yeah.
These are things, that's why that plan is important, going back to that.
Exactly. So we got another question here from Love and Life. And they're actually up in your neck of the woods. They said, we are new to ham radios. We bought 2 digital and 1 analog. Which is best? Then they continue to say, our thoughts is if an EMP hit them, an analog would be better. What are your thoughts on that? And thank you.
Digital is basically going through, like, you're still hitting a repeater, but when you hit that repeater, if I'm correct, as far as the Bowfangs, like they have certain handhelds, you go into a repeater, but once you hit that repeater, it's going via internet to other repeaters, depending on how it's set up. So if something happens to the system, it will go down. But I think a lot of those radios, they do both. Like if you get a digital one, it's not a bad route to go, and you can still do analog with it too. Analog is when it's, you hit a repeater and then it goes to another radio, or simplex when you go radio to radio. So I'm not really, I have stuff on my phone as a backup. There's a link, an app called Echolink, where I can hit various repeaters around the world. But if you get a good digital radio, you should be able to do digital and analog. As far as the EMP thing, if you don't have it protected, it doesn't really matter. And then what about all the other setups? The repeaters, they probably got hit, so that's going to go down. So now you're down to simplex. So you're hitting radio to radio. The handhelds, it's going to be tough. You're going to need something a little bit better, more power, better antennas to really hit anybody of any distance. I hope I answered that question. Did I?
Loving life. If you need a follow-up, just type it in the chat. Whiteside Tactical Solutions. Good to see you, my brother. Hope you're doing well. And again, thank you for the live last week, being a guest. We have a question here from Coffee, who says, how do you figure out where to go when you have no family anywhere and own no other land?
Okay. I don't think she got this. I said in one of the chats, email me, because she asked me a question on one of my videos. There's groups all over the place. Go to Meetup. There's all types of groups. You don't have to join them. Just go down there, introduce yourself, ask some questions. If it's the right fit, then it's a beginning place, and then from there you can kind of work on friends or whatever. Like right now, I have 1 or 2 spots I can go to. If Plan A fails, I can go to Plan B. They're part of my group, and they're on the island. I have some people on the island. I have some people off the island, but they're better. They're better choices to go to than just sitting at home or having nobody. But go out and network. When we went to Trent's event, I'm speaking to a couple of people now. I had 1 or 2 conversations with Dan. He's a great guy. Virginia Bushcrafter. I like bushcrafting and stuff. He did a great video. I gave him contractor bags. He did a hammock with them. So now I have to do it now. But you start talking to people, and you find those people that hey, I can maybe join up with these people. I'm sure you did the same thing near you.
Yep, I did. And Coffee, you can, like the Prepared Irishman said, email him, or you can email me also, and we'll figure it out and help you figure it out. And Love and Life said yes, you answered their question about the radios.
Okay, good. And I got a comment on the Whiteside Tactical. They were on your show.
Yes.
They need to do the give the test, because there's a lot of people in our community. They want to go out there for the day, and there used to be some people that do it that they don't want to be bothered with learning for 6 weeks or 8 weeks. They want to go out there, learn the material, and then take the test and just get it over with. So if they can do that, I guarantee you that'd be very beneficial for them.
Exactly. Fed Up American, US, and us. Bruh, I appreciate you. Thank you very much for the donation. You didn't have to, but you did. And I thank you, and it's much appreciated, because as well as I do, all donations go back into the channel. And as of right now, all donations will be going towards the Bug Out Weekend next year, because we're going to make it 4 days, and we're going to have a lot more stuff and some more classes and all of that. So I appreciate you, my brother, and thank you again. Much appreciated. Yes, Whiteside Tactical. You need to give the ham radio test. I agree.
And I'm looking forward to your event next year. I'm looking forward to seeing all those people.
Yeah.
It's it was really kind of fun to watch. A lot of people, they have channels and they have strengths. They do gardening, they do this. And a lot of people don't do the camping side of it or the bugging out. So they went out for the first time, they braved it, and they did good. And like afterwards, they were like, I'm making adjustments, blah, blah. So I'm kind of curious when I go back next year. I want to see those people, what they did, what adjustments they did.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's the same with me. And mine was kind of different because I was hosting, so I had to bring all this other stuff. Half of the stuff stayed in my truck, and I was like, you know what? It's not even coming next year. So
that barbecue stuff better be coming.
I will. I'll tell Paula that.
Guys, when you went there, the food was really good. It was really good.
Thank you.
So it was worth the trip alone for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that, my brother. So we have another question from Sister Marie's Kitchen. What are your thoughts on interstate travel during SHTF? How many different routes should you have?
Wow, interstate. I kind of know a little bit about this.
Yeah.
I would stay off the main roads. I mean, the main roads will get clogged up. You want to have as many alternate routes as you can.
Right.
And I'm talking about really absurd. Depends on the situation. Okay. One time the Northeast blackout. Probably a couple of you people experienced that. I was working. I had to come home, and I work on the road. So basically, when it happened, all the traffic lights were down. Everything was clogged up. So basically, once I hopped on the parkways, it was great for that situation. But on other situations, parkways are a mess, especially near us. I mean, a normal day, if I'm on the road at let's say 2 a.m. in the morning, there's some major traffic. I mean, so I would stay off go the untraveled road if you can. Yeah. That's probably your best bet during that type of event.
Yep.
And stay ahead of the curve.
Yes, stay ahead of the curve, Sister Marie, and I would stay off of the interstate as well. Yeah, that would be the last place I would be. What is the interstate? Dan, I see your comment, and I will tell Paula. And there you go. So we have another question from Penny Prepper. I guess they're asking you, Irishman, do you plan on moving somewhere that would be easier to bug out from and or to bug in?
I probably want to go to someplace where I like Trent, where I don't have to bug out. I mean, it'd always be on the table. You always have to be ready for that, but I'd rather go somewhere a little bit more rural. Me personally, I'm selfish. I'm used to New York, so I want the best of both worlds. I don't want to have neighbors right next door to me, but if I want to go out and catch a movie or something, I don't want to be 2 hours away from it. So I like to be on the grid, but I like to have off-grid capability. So I want kind of an in-between. I like my comforts.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I have. I'm out in the middle of nowhere, but I can get to everything within 15, 20 minutes. Yeah. And as Miss D's Harleywood Garden says, stay off the main roads, avoid bridges, tunnels, and that can read your plates as well.
Yeah. They're right. Yeah. They're right. I mean, the other thing is once you get on an interstate, think about it. It's tough to get off it. Like if you just say, I can't. Yeah. I mean, until you get an exit, everybody's getting off. And I've seen it here in New York. They're not like other places, away from the Northeast. People are driving on the shoulder. People are driving on the grass, going anywhere they can go. So it will be blocked up, guaranteed.
Exactly. Coffee first. My email is visionpreparedness@gmail.com. She asked, where do I find your email? So I don't know if she was talking to both of us.
Okay. My email is on my channel, thepreparedirishman@gmail.com.
Yep.
So it's real simple.
Yeah, there you go. Another question. How can you tell when gas has gone bad?
Usually, what is it? It's about a year, right? If you treat it, correct?
Yeah. Treat it. Yes. A year. If you treat it with, was it stabilizer?
Mm-hmm.
You can store gas for up to a year. She said, other than that, I don't know how to tell if it's bad because it still smells like gas.
The best thing to do is, get however you're going to store, obviously store it the right way. You don't get crazy, but store it. And then some way you could put it on magic marker, put it on your phone. Like I bought it at this date, and what happened for me, I'll just put it back into my car when the date. I'll have like a month prior, and I'll just throw it into my car. And if you throw it in the car, it can be tricky depending on the type. I know the newer cars, like they're a little bit more difficult to use to put them back in. They sell all types of things now that you can use to get it in there. So you can research that. There's a ton of stuff online for that.
Exactly. But she said, if you know how long it's been sitting, 6 months or more, I would probably use it untreated. But, treated gas, you can probably keep for a year, but keep an eye on it. The prepping artist, good to see you and welcome in. Okay, so the plan, folks, have your plan, practice your plan, do it, and adjust your plan when necessary.
I was just reading something from the Papa Pug. I'm assuming that he's out here near me. He was saying about the Port Jeff ferry and the other ferry too. I know what he's talking about. Orient. Yeah. Think about it. If you thought about it, and if I thought about it, probably everybody else has thought about it, and probably too the other factor is, will it be running?
Yeah.
Can you drive that thing if you had to? And so, if it's available, use everything available, but I wouldn't count on that.
Yeah. And Paul Conroy says pre-G is the the best fuel extender out there, and you would have to put a small amount into a metal lid and then burn it like you're testing moonshine. The color, if the flame is key on how good it is. So the color of the flame tells you how good it is. Right. Penny Prepper said taste test. That's good. That's good. Roaming Prepper, welcome in, my friend. Hope you're doing well tonight. Happy Independence Day to you too. Good to see you. Good to see you. Papa's Farm, good to see you as well, my friend. Hope you're having a great Independence Day. Okay, so the plan. Now, let's get to the part that everybody is going to be an uproar about, and having a ready bag. And I like what you said in our conversation. We talked, was it yesterday or today? Yesterday. Tell the folks what you told me about a ready bag and all of that.
All right. So you got your location figured out. You got your plan. You did all your due diligence. You got that stuff covered. A lot of people will buy the bag first. And the biggest problem is when you buy the bag first, then you get the gear and the gear doesn't fit properly. It's not meant. So I like to tell people, get the gear. I would also recommend get involved with people. Like it's not exactly what we do as far as preppers, but as far as hiking and stuff, you can learn a lot from these people that do like the Appalachian Mountain Trail and stuff like that. Go to them and ask about certain gears because they find ways. Ultralight hikers, they find ways to lighten up. I'm not an ultralight hiker, Trent knows this, but they find ways of shrinking gear. Ounces count. They'll, I've seen people cut their toothbrushes, the handle in half to save, an ounce or two. But find people that really know what they're talking about. Don't buy the gear right away. Just watch what they do, and you'll start forming your own opinion. The other thing is try to buy the best stuff you can. I know gear is expensive, but here's what. And look, I made this mistake. You buy stuff, you think it's great, and then all of a sudden it's garbage. And look, I wasted money on this. I was better off buying the piece of equipment that I should have bought in the first place, the right piece of equipment, and just being done with it. But try to keep it lightweight as possible, and also the bulk. That's a big thing too. It's tough. Like if you live in a winter environment, you're going to need like a bigger sleeping bag. You're going to need more clothes, but try to keep that stuff as minimal and as, keep the bulk down as, the best you can.
Yeah. And that's key. So I need to reiterate this, folks. Get your gear together first before you buy the bag. And I'm gonna use myself as a prime example. So I had all this gear, and I said, well, I'm gonna get me a 30-liter black tactical backpack. It should all fit in there, which it did. I put the bag on and walked, and I was like, this bag sucks. Because not because the bag was made, flimsy or whatever. It was the way, because I'm 6'3", 215 pounds, and the pack is built out horizontally. So, I'm feeling the pull on my shoulders, even though it's high and it's tight, and the waist strap. And I was like, this is horrible. So would I start researching bags, and I actually found a vertical pack that distributes the weight vertically, that it works better for me, because now I have the full length from shoulders down to my waist, and it distributes the weight better, evenly for me, and that worked for me.
I have a whole room full of mistakes. So,
exactly, you and me both. Exactly.
Look, if I told you I got it right the first time, I'd be lying. I'd made a ton
you and me both.
Anybody who knew me when I was starting off could sit here and tell you, yeah, he did. He made them all. He made some big ones. But, learn from our mistakes. If you see us, let us know. If you go into an event and you don't have this stuff figured out and you email me, I'll throw a couple bags in. Yeah, try these bags. See what they feel like. I have all different types of bags. I'm a big Everly stock guy. They make very expensive bags, but very good bags.
They do.
The problem is there's no stores. Everything they have is out in Utah, and it's they're unique. It's hard to explain. Some bags, I have a bag this is my winter bag. It's like I look like a Ninja Turtle on it, with its big and wide, but I can carry a truck with it, and it carries so well. When you get the pack, you want to we're not into that, but the gear, just make sure that you have everything that you need and no more. Don't get the extras. Remember, it's not a camping trip. From point A to point B as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Throw out all the other stuff. You're not going to need it, and you won't want it. It's going to just kill you when you go out on the trail.
Yeah. So, speaking of gear, what's let's talk about some of the basic gear that everybody should have in their pack. And I'm gonna go easy, because you're that guy that gets into the weeds, and you start pulling out stuff, and I'm like, what in the world? Then I see it, and I'm like, why didn't I think of that? That's you.
Look, I went to other people. I did the same thing you did. I still don't know everything. I get people come. I'm like, wow, I never thought of that. That's pretty cool. I need that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna start with food. Calorie bars, folks. Some type of the high calorie bars, the SOS bars. They may not taste great, but they're high on calories, especially if you're trying to walk 3 miles in an hour. You're going to need something with calories, because you're going to be burning calories. So, things like that.
All right. So you got I think the main one out there is Mountain House. They're lightweight. You're going to need some water to reconstitute it.
Water.
So that's a factor. They're somewhat packable. MREs, that's another option. Like you see these MREs, they're a little bit bulkier, but if you talk to people that have been in the military, and that's the best people to talk to, they'll take them apart. But you don't need water in them. And when you break down actually the calorie content and stuff, they may work out for you. You got to do your research on that. But I like your idea, and I do. I carry my backpack, and I also carry a chest rig. I have several versions of chest rigs. Now,
Same here.
When people think chest rigs, they think of that military type chest rig. Yes, an option. You could do that. But there's also like the civilian ones that hikers use. Transforming with that. Now, in that bag, I carry those hand held items. If I don't want to stop, but I need calories, You mentioned a couple of things. There's a trail mix,
Yes.
electric bars, anything that will give you calories. You don't have to go do SOS. I mean, you can if you want to. You can
Right.
find stuff that works for you, but something that you can carry that you can on the trail and go, or on the road, I should say, and just go and not stop if you don't want to. The other factor is too, when you talk about food, everybody talks about making a fire and I'm going to cook on the fire. I'm going to ask this question to all the people in the audience. Do you really want to stop and make a fire during an event that's going to draw attention to you? Yes. I will if I have to.
Yes.
I'll carry a gas stove with me, because if I have to go that route, a little pocket rocket, something super small, a little canister, well, actually a bigger canister, but there you go. So just basically, and you can use a nesting cup or whatever. As far as the gear, I carry a stainless steel single wall container, because it'll fit a liter of water, and I can boil it if I have to, and a nesting cup because it's compact. Inside that nesting cup, now I can cook from that instead of that. Because what you have takes up space. But if you want to cook something like rice or something like that, you're going to need something bigger than maybe a nesting cup.
Correct. And for me, I'm gonna be honest, I carry Nutrient Survival in my pack.
That works still.
Yeah. So folks, carry something you're gonna eat and something you actually kind of like, because there's nothing worse than only having something you really don't like and don't want to eat.
Rick Curl just made a comment out there. I don't know where it went, but there you go. Electrolytes.
Yes.
Very, very important. Yes. I usually don't have a problem. When I went to Canterbury, they strip you of everything. It's like you're in the military. And I was cramping up. I never cramp up. And so usually I carry electrolytes. So carrying Gatorade powder, liquid IV. I mean, there's a lot of different things out there. They have they have tablets. If you go to REI, they have tablets. If you prefer that, I usually like the liquid IV.
Yep, same here. I liquid IV. I carry the powders that have electrolytes and all that in it. Hydration salts, I carry those also. And the Roaming Prepper says, folks, check reviews and videos before spending the money on your gear. Absolutely. The Educated Natural. Good to see you. Welcome in. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well on this wonderful Independence Day. Yeah.
And as far as the Roaming Preppers, that's 100% correct.
Yes.
I also like telling people, go out and go to those groups, and you'll always see those people that who's who, and you'll see that person knows the stuff. So asking him questions, and ask a bunch of people. It's basically the same thing the Roaming Prepper is saying, but it's nice when you can actually. I don't like the reviews, because you can see something online like that guy could be a maniac. He could not know what he's talking about. I want to go to somebody that like when I go up to Hudson Valley, there's a Milton farmer. Yes. I know a little bit, so I look. I kind of I don't want to say stalk him, but I look at his setups and stuff. He knows what he's doing, so I'll ask him a question like, "Hey, why'd you set up your top this way, or why are you carrying this, or whatever?" He's very good, and Mike's obviously very knowledgeable too, and a whole bunch of other people up there.
Right. Roaming Prepper. Here's my non-shameless plug, folks. If you get a chance, go see the movie Sound of Freedom. Please, 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 please. It is probably the best movie of this year. I just saw something pop up on my computer. I think the Roaming Prepper saw it. I'm going to see it tomorrow, and I'm taking my son with me. Please, folks, if you get a chance, go see it. I have no affiliation with them other than the fact that this is based on a true story, and this guy and his people are saving children that are being trafficked around the world. And they're trying to get 2 million people to see this movie by this coming weekend. Please, if you can, go see it, even and just Google it. And there's a way, if you can't afford to go see the movie, where you can get free tickets to go see the movie. I'm going to see it. I'm taking all my kids with me and their friends. We're taking a couple carloads. Anyway, that was my shameless plug, only because I saw it come across on my on my notifications. Karen, welcome in, welcome in. Okay, so we got food, we got water, hydration packs.
Okay. I mean, I'll carry my stainless steel bottle. That's
Yeah, you're like me. Yeah.
My nesting cup, so I can
Yep.
boil, obviously. In that, and I'll get to what you're saying in a second. In that container, and I learned this from another prepper, and I saw it. I'm like, that's a good idea. So I'm going to steal that too. Carry the soya mini in there. Water tablets. There's all different types of ones. If you don't know how to use them, they have instructions. Just read them. I usually carry the Canterbury's water bottle. I know there's clean. There's a whole bunch of them. But basically, the reason why I carry that is it's a 32-ounce water bottle. That's single wall, stainless steel. You can boil in it. But when you drop a tablet in it, it's made specific. A lot of these tablets are 32 ounces a liter. So it fits perfectly. Some other containers may be a little bit more, a little bit less. So you're going to have to kind of figure out how many tablets to throw in there. I also you can carry a cotton bandana. So the 10Cs are huge. Not only having the 10Cs, but knowing how to do them, because there's a lot of things you can do with those 10Cs. Mike did a bang up job at your bug out weekend with that. You can also, instead of having the bandana on top of it to act as a pre-filter, bring a coffee filter. It works just as good. You're just trying to stop the sediment from going in if you're on a stream or something like that. And of course, your water source, you want to make sure it's the best water source you're getting from. If you just go in and grab from any water source, even if you boil it, you don't know what kind of chemicals are in there.
Right.
There's another product called the
Grail. That's what I carry. I carry the Grail titanium.
I'm starting to use it a little bit more, and I know it treats chemicals. I'm a little bit kind of reluctant because I don't think anything's perfect. But it's probably better, so I'm starting to use it. I have two of them. I have one for my work bag. So my work bag's very limited, but I figure it's nice because I can bring it to work. If somebody sees it, they're going to think it's a water bottle, so they won't think twice about it. So, and as far as the bladders, there's a lot of them out there. You can go on Amazon and buy the cheap ones. They're great because you know what? You don't have to take your back off and grab a water bottle, an Nalgene, or your stainless steel bottle. You just put it in there. The only thing, they come in different sizes. Some are thin, some are narrow, depending on your pack. That's something to look at. Some are insulated. Camelback is a big one. I'm drawing blanks. There's a whole bunch of them. REI has a couple of them. The amount of liters, 2 liters, 3 liters. I like getting the bigger ones. I don't have to fill them if I don't have to, but I have that capacity. 3 liters is usually good. So if you carry a 3-liter bladder and you have a 32-ounce bottle, that's your gallon of water. You know, the minimum that they say. And that varies from person to person. Some people are camels. They drink a lot more. Some people drink less. You know, so you got to determine what your needs are.
Yep. And, you know, I'm with you. I broke down and bought the Grail titanium. And I'm like you. I'm reluctant. I'm using it, but you know, like you said, everything's not perfect. So I'm testing it. You know, I walked out to the creek and dipped water in it and did that and drank it and was like, okay, either everything inside of me is getting ready to fall out or I'm gonna be okay.
I think it is a good product.
I do too.
But you know, until you put it through its paces, you personally, you know, you got to earn that. You got to get that trust in there.
Exactly.
And it's real easy. I mean, with the Sawyer bottles, I like the Sawyers because they're so small. Hydro Pack comes out with these collapsible, heavy-duty containers. You can get them 1 liter, 2 liter, 3 liter, 8 liters. But what's nice about them, I usually carry 2 water bladders for that. So if I stop, I keep them on the outside of my pack, like in a
Yeah.
pocket, secured.
Yeah.
And if I see, like, say, a stream or something that I trust and I want to fill up because I don't know when the next time, I'll fill one is blue and one is like black. One's a dirty, one's clean, obviously. You can mark them, it doesn't matter. You don't want to cross-contaminate and get sick. So you want to filter it, and then you want to boil it. And, of course, you want to make sure the water source is the best water source you can. If you see, like, kind of that chemical spill in it or it's not quite right, if you have doubts, don't drink from it.
Don't drink it. Yeah.
Unless you're dehydrated and you're going to die anyway. Take it.
Right. So Mad Shad, of course, he always asks this question of every single guest that I have on the show on my live stream. He wants to know, what's your favorite pie?
I'm not a big pie fan. I'm really not.
You're 0 for 2, Mad Shad. You're 0 for 2. There it is.
Sorry, man. Matt's a great guy too.
He is. He's a great guy. So we have another question here from the Virginia Bushcrafter. Must carry a good cutting tool.
Ooh, yes. Preference. I'd say the number one is, for me, is a knife and a saw. I know he's a hatchet guy and he's pretty good at it. And we've had some conversations on the side. Great guy. He's doing some good stuff.
Yes, he is.
Good. So as far as knife, fixed blade, high carbon steel,
full tang,
yes. Scandinavian grind. I like Condor, but knives are like cars. It's preference. I mean, the handles, this, that, and the other thing. Yeah. I like the Condors. That's for Moore's pretty good too. They're a cheaper knife. If you're on a budget, they have some different knives. But
what I'm trying to think, I have the saw, both 2 sizes.
Silky.
Yeah, I have the silky saw, the silky boy, and then the smaller one.
I have all of them.
Right, yeah. I like silky. And I won't mess with any other saw other than that. Devil Dog Prepper, welcome. Good to see you, my brother. Hope you're doing well on this wonderful Independence Day, and thank you for your service. I appreciate you, my brother. Hope you're having a great day. Okay, so we food, water, shelter. Let's talk about shelter.
Okay, shelter. The 3 most common types of shelter are a tent, a hammock, or a tarp. Usually, I hate to say this because it's not 100% accurate. Usually when I say tents, usually the beginners go for the tents, but I use tents too. It's not necessarily beginners, but tents are a little bit more easier for somebody starting off to set up. Hammocks I like hammock. I can't sleep in hammocks. I like the outdoor hammocks.
Yeah.
I've had really good people that have really good setups.
Yes.
Set it up on 30 degrees, take your fingers like this.
Mike said he's going to convert me. I said, good luck with that. Yeah, I just can't do it.
I'll set you up on something else. But if you can sleep in them, they're great, because think about it. You're off the ground, you're between 2 trees. Now people are saying, well, what if you're in the city or stuff like that? Well, you still have a tarp. So you can take that tarp and set it up. Tarps, to me, I like because of the 1, they're lightweight, 2, they fold down next to nothing, and 3, the flexibility. You can set them up in so many different configurations. I was supposed to do a talk class at your event, and the weather came in, and everybody, I was like, let's do it. Come on, we got the weather. Let's go. Yeah. And but you can set it up without trees. You can set it up with trees. There's so many different things. It's not perfect. It's not for everybody, because when people think about tarps, they think about, well, I'm on the ground. I don't have something like a bug net around it. But they sell items, like if that's your problem, I actually have one, an A-frame type of tent. So you can set up the tarp. You set up your ridge line. You set up your basically your inner, which has a bathtub finish. Yeah. And then you set up an A-frame. And what's nice about it compared to a tarp, 1, the 2 sides are open, right? So you get a little bit more air breeze. But two, like let's say if it's raining, I can just lift one side up, put some sticks up there. Now I have a front porch. So now I don't have to carry like a pop-up like you were seeing there or stuff
Right.
like that. But you have a lot of options. So, but they're a little bit more skill set with the tops and the definitely the tops and the hammocks. But you can definitely learn it. It's not I learned it. I'm not a rocket
Yeah.
scientist, so I mean most people can if they just
Uh,
put their minds to it.
right. Canada said, listen, homeless people live out of a shopping cart. So
Yeah,
can you. Yeah, we
absolutely.
can. You're right.
You
And
can learn a lot of lessons from them.
I was just getting ready to say, folks, go hang out in the homeless community and see what they're setting up. I mean, I would set up a shelter with a tarp and a heartbeat. After seeing what you did with tarps, I'm like, please. Yeah.
Yeah, but what I did with the top that day, I set up 2 tripods. It's a bushcrafting thing. So I
Yeah.
showed Virginia, and I knew he
Yeah.
was into it. But if you're on a bug out, I mean, if you had to, yes, all right, great. But if that's not really practical for a bug out.
Right. I'm with you, Mad Shad. He says a bivy sack and a poncho, small tarp for me. Yes, if worst case scenario, I carry bivy sack and poncho in all my bags.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you can say, and you know what? People don't realize if you get the military ponchos, you can
Yes.
set them up. They're basically a top.
Yes.
The only problem I have with those is if I only carry a poncho and I set up in a plow point configuration, now I'm stuck in the poncho. If I leave that, I'm going to get wet. So I like to carry both. I like to use that as a backup, the military
Yeah.
poncho. But I do
Yeah.
carry a military poncho.
Right. So Sister Marie's Kitchen asks, what about a Sawyer Mini? Would you still boil that water? My understanding is we don't. If you
No,
filter it through a Sawyer Mini, you don't have to boil it.
no. When you filter water, it filters. There's only certain like bacteria, blah blah blah. You'll read it. It'll tell you
Correct.
everything it does. It's not foolproof. The best way is filter. I mean, you might be able to get away with it. I mean, look, we've all done it. We've all, like you just said before, I just drank the water straight up.
Yeah.
The only 100% guaranteed method is boiling. So filtering is one method where you put it in there and then you should boil. Now, realistically, you're out there, you're hot. I hate hot water. So if I think the water, I'll take a chance, but I'm taking a chance. You're going to get, if you get sick and something, make sure the water source is good, running source. You're looking at it. I mean, there's no perfect way. You're always taking a chance when you're drinking from water, water source. But filter, then boil.
Yeah. Filter it, then boil it. Yes. Another question from Penny Prepper. He asks, does anyone have fireworks set aside for prepping? Perimeter, alarms, distance, or defense?
You want to take that?
Sure.
I know you do.
I've got a couple of things, Penny Prepper, and just to answer your question is yes. I have such items that I can set up as perimeter alarms, as well as self-defense tools if necessary. I'll say that without going into a whole lot of details, but yes.
There's a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah.
Actually, at your event, Old Mutt gave me some perimeter alarms, and usually the perimeter alarms that you buy are set up with fishing line, some type of trigger mechanism, and they use a 209 primer, which is basically a blank. It's nothing that will harm anybody. It'll just make a big noise, just to alert you.
Right.
He gave me something where it shoots 22. Basically, you can get them at Home Depot. They're for the nail guns, for shooting stuff. Yeah. Blanks too. But what I like about them is a while back ago, when you were trying to get those 209 primers, you couldn't get them.
Couldn't find them. Yeah.
So what he gave me was really good to begin with, but that added bonus, where I could get it more available, was great. You could also set up the same thing with You get a can and some rocks, just something,
Rocks, exactly. Yeah.
Is it as good as the other things that we're talking about? No, but there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can do to set up some type of security. Now the question is, what are you setting up for? Are you setting up for like an animal or people coming into the camp? How far away are you setting up? Some people will set it up right on top of the camp. Like, that's no good. They're gonna
Too late.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
yeah. You set up a perimeter, then you set up an outer perimeter. Beyond that,
and you should have a watch.
KP, right? And you have watch, right? KP, welcome in. She is Sunshine. Good to see you. Hope you guys are having an amazing Independence Day. Welcome. Okay, so food, water, shelter. What else do we need in a ready bag?
I would always start with the 10 C's. You can look it up.
Look up the 10 C's, folks.
If you're
I'm
going
to see if I can find that, and I'll drop it in the chat.
Yeah, because I always forget one or two of them. But basically, a container, which we talked about, a cutting tool, Virginia talked about, and we didn't mention hatchet. He's going to kill me because I know he loves that.
I did find it.
Okay, go ahead. Bring it up.
I found Dave Canterbury's 10 C's. And here is a link to it, folks, in the chat. And I will we'll go through these real quick. 10 C's. Cutting tool. I'll let you expound on them. Cutting tool.
Basic 3 cutting tools: a knife, saw, and a hatchet.
Knife, saw, and a hatchet. There you go, folks. Combustion device.
You should have a minimum of 3. There's a whole bunch of them. Some people want the matches, what are they? Waterproof matches, the ones that
waterproof, stormproof matches.
Yeah, stormproof. Yeah. Ferro rod, flint and steel. There's a whole bunch of things in that combustion kit too. It should be also some fire starters. If you have wet conditions, humid conditions, it's nice to have something. Cotton balls and Vaseline is the cheapest ones you can use. They sell. Mickwick is another one that they do. I don't use it too often, but I know people that swear by it. Go to Kmart. I mean, not Kmart, Walmart. They sell a whole bunch of stuff and it's cheap.
They do. I prefer a pull start fire. All you do is put the little box in there, pull the thing, and poof, you got fire.
All I'm looking for is something to keep a flame for like a minute or two, because if you the whole thing about starting a fire is collecting the right material. And then if you have the right material and you have a flame, some people, when you use the ferro rod, then you're going to have to find some flash fire material like cottontail, fat wood, stuff like that, just to get it going. And you get the smallest twigs and stuff. Once you get that going, then you add the bigger stuff. And once it goes above the material, you add the next thing. And once you get about a thumb size piece of wood, that's considered a sustainable fire at that point. Then you can start adding the really big stuff.
Right. Love and Life says bugging in and fortifying your home is the best defense and better than dining in the woods.
If you have that option, I agree with you. Absolutely.
If you have that option, I'm all with you. I'm all for that. Okay, so the next C, cover.
Okay, cover. Something to sleep on, something to sleep in, and something to sleep under. So when you say something to sleep on, you want to kind of create, it could be a sleeping pad, it could be a browse bed mattress, tick mattress, something that insulates you from the ground. If you sleep on the ground, it's basically going to suck your body temperature. I know people that say they do. I do it all the time, but you really shouldn't. Something to sleep in. It could be, depending on your environment, it might have to be a wool blanket, a sleeping bag, depending on your temperature. Yes? I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, Pete, he's got to go. Take care, Rubber Prepper. Sorry.
Take it easy, Pete. Sorry.
Yeah.
It could be a whoopee, and then something to sleep under, tent, hammock, tarp, something to protect you from the elements. That's conducive to where you are. Cold, warm, whatever.
Exactly. Emergency blanket,
I've used those. I've tested those.
Yeah.
I've tested them. I think, what's the lowest I've gotten them to? I think in the 30s, and I was freezing my ass off. So
Yeah, I'm with you. I did too, and I was like this. Fortunately, I was in the backyard. I said, you know what, this is insanity. I'm going in the house.
that's the way to do it. If you're going to test out the stuff, have that
Yeah,
safety net.
exactly. Okay, so the next C, container.
Stainless steel water container. I've discussed that. Nesting
Mm-hmm.
cup. You could have a pod or whatever, but the stainless steel containers, there's a whole bunch of them. Make sure they're
Yeah.
not double wall. Because if you put that in the fire, you're not going to like the results of it.
No, you won't. Okay, the next C, cordage.
Cordage. For our community, there's two types, usually paracord and bank line. If you get bank line, don't make the mistake I did. I went online. You're supposed to get number 36. I went online to Amazon. I got some crappy bank line, and I'm tying the stuff, and I'm snapping it by hand. I'm like, I shouldn't be able to do that. So number 36 is good. If you're doing hammocks and stuff, there's Zing It, Am Steel, and actually there's smaller and have a stronger tensile strength. And then, what's the other one? There's Virginia was using it for certain projects for his hammock. Worm tape or mule tape or something like that. That's for something specific. It's not really cordage.
Yeah, gorilla tape or something. I forget what he was, but yeah, something he was using.
But he was
Yeah.
using the hang thing. That's something you might want to consider to have around for stuff for the projects.
Right. Okay, the next one, cotton bandana.
Okay, cotton bandana. Like when you go to Dave's, they usually want a 3x3, specifically cotton, because you can use the cotton to turn into char material. Now, if you get his nesting cup, his container, I'm sure you can use other brands too. You can actually char cloth in your container, so you don't need to carry the what is it, the Altoids?
Yeah, Altoids can. Yeah.
So basically, you're getting a multiple uses. Also, too, if you get 3x3, let's say you break something, you can use it as like a sling. And actually, if you have to pack something, obviously you want, let's say you have some stuff in your kit, which I know we're going to discuss later down, your trauma kit, and you're packing stuff and you're running out of stuff, throw it on top. It's just, is it sterile? No, but it's better than bleeding out. So there's a whole bunch of different uses you can use for it.
Yeah. Virginia Bushcrafter said it was polyester pull tape.
Okay. There you go.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. The next C, cargo tape.
Okay. Basically, that's duct tape. Like you were saying, the best tape is Gorilla tape. It's the strongest, but that is a fire starter, for one.
Yeah.
Two, it's actually just one of the things I use a lot because I've seen it. We had somebody hiking down the trail one time. The bottom of the sole of the shoe came off. So we had to fix it. So we wrapped it around there. I got him back to the car. You know what I mean? It was a good mile.
Nice.
So,
yeah, Gorilla tape will fix anything.
If you have, let's say you're using a tarp and you have a fire too close, I'm not going to name names, Virginia Bushcrafter. You get a spark that goes onto the tarp. Now it's raining. Now all of a sudden you don't want it dripping down. You can put cargo tape. Another thing, emergency blankets that you're talking about.
Yeah.
If you put up an emergency blanket in a lean-to configuration, I don't like the coverage it gives in a lean-to. It's not my favorite. I like an A-frame. But if you take two of those, you can use cargo tape to put them. Now you can put that A-frame configuration together.
Okay.
So there's a ton of usages for it. It's good. It's a good item to have.
Exactly. Compass.
Okay. Compass is a good one. Everybody carries a device. Usually they have, what do they have now? Garmin. Don't ask me. It's not my specialty, but they have text messaging involved with it, navigation. It's a great tool to have. You should have it. And it's worked off of, I believe, satellite. So everybody thinks satellite is foolproof. It's not. It's not. It's good. It works. I say a large percent, but there are circumstances where it will not. That's if you study ham radio, you'll understand why it's not foolproof. But the map and compass is a tool. Once you learn it, it's not that difficult. But if you learn it, it's a great tool to have. The biggest problem is with me, if you're stuck in the middle of the woods and you don't know where you are, you got to know, you got to find 2 spots on the map, like a lake, the highest point where you can kind of shoot a bearing. And what you do is you shoot the 2 bearings, and where they cross is where you are at. And then you can kind of plot a course out.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
Map, compass. When you get the map, you need the right map. You need a protractor because that's a tool that you're going to need. Pace speeds. Pace speeds. If let's say you shoot a bearing, you got to go 350 degrees in a certain direction.
Yeah.
Did I pass it? Am I too short? Pace speeds will tell you approximately if you're in the ballpark. So that's a good tool. And pen and paper. Waterproof paper, waterproof pen.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
That.
Yeah. Cloth sail needle.
One of my least favorite out of the 10 C's.
Yeah.
But all right. If you get a splinter, you can kind of build out. If you have, let's say you rip your clothes, maybe you can do a repair on that or on a tarp. Or if you carry a wool blanket, there's a lot of things you can do with it. Like you fold it together like a queen size and you can make it into a browse bed mattress. And if people don't know what that is, if you have a sleeping pad, it insulates you from the ground. So if you you can take one of your wool blankets, if you carry 2, and kind of cover with leaves and stuff. 4 inches is minimum compressed insulation. Mike mentioned something that I forgot about, but he's 100% right. You can turn it into a compass by putting a magnet on it and turning it into a makeshift compass. So it's one of my least favorite things. But,
wow. Yeah. And last but not least, candling device.
Carry a candle, of course. It's an acronym. It's an acronym for carrying a headlamp. Usually, what I'll do is, I'm a big fan of USB devices, so I'll carry a headlamp. If you carry a headlamp, Olight has some really good lights. They're very bright, but I don't think they carry the colored lights, because if you're hanging out in a group, and you have that big bright light, everybody's like kind of like this, like they can't see it. So having the red, blue, they have all different types of other brands. I also carry a backup, which I carry with me all the time. It's usually on my neck. And the other thing I would say is, if it's USB, you can carry a battery bank, a small solar panel. In my bag, I had a solar panel that weighed about a pound that was 28 watts. So that I can recharge everything. And you want the battery, if you can, that's interchangeable. So if one thing goes down and you want to use the headlamp, I can take it from here, or something breaks, I can use back and forth too.
So what is your take on red headlamps?
You know what? I have 1 or 2, to be honest. I don't use them a ton, but people seem like, supposedly your eyes can adjust a little bit easier for it. And I know, so it's a little bit easier on people. I know with animals too, I don't know, it has something, but I don't usually use them too much. I have the big, obnoxious, I can see for a mile, the bat signal type light.
I've got a red one that I haven't even used, and I'm going to test it out here walking through the woods at night in the next couple of weeks.
I'm sure if you look at a chat, it's lighting up right now. They're telling you need the red light, you need the blue light.
Yes, exactly. Love and Life says, how about tick repellent?
Yes, very important. I'm collecting all types of tick bites. I've been bitten by Lyme. I've been bitten by Lone Star. I've been bitten by a whole bunch of them. I keep on ticking though. I've been good. If you can prevent that, absolutely. There's DEET, which is cancerous. So I'd be very. One of the main. And look, I'm a little bit out of the loop a little bit, but perithamine, which you can treat your clothes, and it's good for, I think it's 8 weeks. Don't quote me on that though. That's probably the best way to go. And then there's also natural type remedy, natural type oils and stuff that you can use and stuff like that. And so, you'd have to check with people with that, but that's another way of going. But yes, absolutely, 100%. Anytime you go into the woods, you should use it.
Yes. And Dan H gave me a can of Promethium when we were at the bug out weekend. I was like, dude, thank you. Yeah.
There's also two, and I didn't know this. I learned this from other people. When you get it like from Walmart, it's a certain percentage. You can get stronger percentages of it too. So it's it may not be as good as if you go elsewhere and get the little bit stronger version of it.
Right.
So you might want to check into that too.
Yep. Karen says, learn your plants. Now, this is what I lack in, to the point where I'm not even going to worry about it, because I don't want to eat the wrong thing and die. So,
well, it's not even that. Look, I'm definitely not an expert on this. Right. I'm like you. I'm learning. I know I have a buddy, one or two. I've taken courses on it, but I'm not an expert. But I can identify some plants, and the more you know, the better off you are. At one of the groups I'm in, there's a guy who basically had asthma, and he just started learning about stuff. He lives in one of the boroughs, so he gave a class on it in the Bronx, and he's walking around his neighborhood. I mean, he's this plant, that plant, mullein. It's supposedly good for asthma. Plantain, it's astringent. Dude, it was amazing. You're walking around a city block, and he's pointing out all this stuff. And, to me, that I was like, wow. So he started giving me some pointers and stuff like that. I've taken some classes. Some things stick, some things don't. But yes, if the more you know, the better off you are. But if you're not sure about something, don't take a chance.
Yeah. So Devil Dog, and it's funny, Devil Dog Prepper said, what about tannerite?
Tannerite?
Yeah. Devil Dog, I have tannerite. It's
for what purpose?
Alarm, self-defense, making things go boom.
Yeah. That's what I thought. I had to think about that for a second.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. He asked that question. Reactive, tannerite is look it up, folks. I that's all I'm gonna say.
A lot of conspiracy theories around that too.
Yes, there is. Yeah. So yes, look it up. But yes, I agree with you, Devil Dog. Tannerite is a wonderful thing. Penny Prepper says garden gnomes filled with tannerite. That works too, Penny. That works well. That works well for sure. We got any more questions? What time is it? Good Lord, time flies. It's 8:15. Folks, you guys have been absolutely amazing. Sister Marie's Kitchen says on plants, make sure they haven't been sprayed with chemicals. Yes.
Absolutely. Like dandelions are edible and stuff like that. Yes. But if you go pick one from the lawn, how many times do we treat our lawn to make it look nice and green?
Correct. And I stopped treating my lawn. Since I moved out here, I don't treat my lawn anymore.
Oh, yeah. Why?
Because I want the dandelions to grow, because I don't want to kill them in case I need them.
And now I wish I could say that. I'm just too lazy.
I know.
I got stuff going on in my life. It's just one more
I'm with you. And that's one of the things I learned. I was out here and I was like, wait a minute. I can cut my grass when I want to. I don't have to look at my neighbors cutting their grass and then feel guilty and then have to cut my grass. So, yeah. That's,
we talked about some of the 10 C's.
Yes. Keep going.
What else? There's additional C's. Everybody talks about them. I think you agree with this.
Mm-hmm.
When you talk about C's, just remember the C's are used basically as basic, easy acronyms. I can never get it. I have to look at the list. I can name like probably 8 of them off the top of my head. But after those 10 C's, think about some other things that you would need to throw in your bag that's essential. I'm going to say something. As soon as I say it, I know you're going to chime in. Combat care, which would be like trauma kit, something, medical. That's huge.
Yes. Have a good IFAC, folks. And in my case, a VFAC. And have enough, not just for yourself, but everybody's that's with you.
Now, let me ask you a question on that.
Yes.
From the way you talk, you're saying that you're not going to be alone. You're going to be with some people.
Yes.
Now, do you carry everything in your kit, or do you carry like you spread it out a little bit? Like I know couples that kind of in gear in general, not only medical, but
right.
There's a thought process that I can lighten both our packs if you carry one item, I carry the other. But if you get separated, now you're kind of screwed. So what's your thoughts on that?
So in my pack, I carry everything I need in that pack for me or anybody. And I have multiple packs.
Uh-oh. Pulling them out.
This one here is this pack here will treat up to 10 people.
Okay.
I have 2 of these in my house, one downstairs, one upstairs.
Very good.
And
car kit?
I have a VFAC in my truck that stays in there that has, I think, at least 3 tourniquets, multiple sets of chest seals, all of that stuff. Every one of my bags has a kit in it.
Now let me ask you a question. We're going to flip
sir.
it here. I'm going to start asking you some of the questions.
Okay.
Okay. This is the biggest problem I have. I've had some training. I'm not an expert, but I've taken regular first aid, CPR, ED, wilderness first aid, tactical combat casualty care 1, 2.
Right.
And now we belong to groups and we're all supposed to carry one. So basically the rule of thumb for us is you either carry it on the outside and it's clearly marked, or at least on the top of the bag. Something happens, you can grab it. And also if you have medicine specifically made for you, you have to have them in there. But my question to you is, how big is your bag? Like how can we shrink it? Because when I'm going out there, now we're talking about bugging out, that's one thing. If you're going to do, let's say, campouts, I think of things like, okay, how much how big is it?
This weighs a pound. This is 1 pound.
Okay. It's not bad.
Yeah.
Chest seals, the bleeding agents, the gauze, whatever you call it.
Clot, everything is in this kit.
Okay. You have the nose.
Tourniquet, nasal and pharyngeal, both sizes. Marker, triangular bandage, quick clot, multiple gauze, eye patch, and cloth tape and waterproof tape. Gloves.
You use cloth tape?
Cloth tape. Yep, I use cloth tape.
What's your thoughts on electrical tape?
If it works, it works. Just some type of tape.
Because, all right, so the reason why I say electrical tape, somebody kind of mentioned this to me, because it's flexible. Yeah. Like you get to certain places you want to, let's say you have a little more like a boo-boo or in a bed near, I don't want to say a joint, but you know what I'm talking about. It gives a little bit. It's a little bit more forgiving.
Yep, that's true. Electrical tape will work too. I have cloth tape. I have waterproof tape. But in each one of my
burn gel
here,
burn gel?
Yes, burn gel, burn shield is in there. Absolutely. That's standard stuff in all of our kits.
Because you know what? Like I said, when we go out on, let's say, survival trips or whatever, gunshot wounds really aren't on the top of the list. Right. It's more like cuts, burns, twists, that type of stuff. So I'm always thinking, like, how can I kind of keep this bare bones essential? And if everybody has, everything but bare bones between all of us, that's my thought process. I was just wondering what you thought.
Yeah. One thing, Devil Dog at the Bug Out Weekend, he showed me his medical kit. It's bigger than this. He literally can perform surgery, and I can too, because I have another pack that's just for wound care that has sutures and all that stuff in it, staple gun, everything. But your basic IFAC, and that's what it is. It's an individual first aid kit that is just for you. And like you said, when you're going out with multiple people, if everybody has a kit, then there should be enough, in air quotes, to cover everybody. But I have one of these as well, 2 of these, that has you name it, it has everything in it. You
See,
know, it's
something
got,
like that I would carry in my car or my house.
yes,
Something where,
exactly.
you know what, size doesn't really matter. I'm going to put as much stuff as I can to be safe.
Correct. And that's why these stay in the house. And I carry a VFAC in my car that has multiple tourniquets. Because if you have to use a tourniquet, that tourniquet's done. Throw it away after or whenever. If you have to use it on somebody and the doctors take it off, they're going to throw it away.
And you like the cats, right?
I like the cats, but the two I like are cat tourniquets and the soft T tourniquet.
Now,
go ahead.
When I was at the trip with you, the biggest problem I have is the cat tees. They're great. I've learned how to use them and stuff, but they're bulky. I was talking to Cody. Cody was actually an EMT, and he was saying the soft tees pack down so much.
Yes, I mean it. Yeah, the soft tee will pack down that big. I like them too. And you're absolutely right.
Now, there's something I saw. I didn't see this before this, and this has to do with one of our people in the chat, Dan H. He had a tourniquet that was basically a ratchet down, which
ratchet. Was cool. Yes, he gave me one. So the ratchet tourniquet was just approved by TCCC earlier this year.
Okay.
So that is a TCCC approved tourniquet, the ratchet tourniquets, and I like that too. And I haven't had to use a tourniquet, but yes, that is a great tool to have as well.
See, we both learned something at
the Bug Out Weekend. Right, exactly. He pulled that thing. I was like, oh, so that's what it looks like.
He had a new toy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Devil Dog Prepper said his first aid kit weighed 25 to 30 pounds.
Yeah, and I mean, look, it's an essential item. You don't want to kind of, skimp on it, but when you're like going on these trips and you're putting miles in, you don't want to get carried away with it too. So you want to make sure that you're trying to minimize it as much as possible, but carrying the stuff that you need.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Just doing our best. Thank you. That red one is actually from My Medic, which they're one of our affiliates. You can get that from our website. I actually think they're on sale. I don't remember how much they were, but you can look at visionpreparedness.org and go to our affiliate, our products, and My Medic is on there. You can get them there. They're great packs. We also have our own VFAC kit that we put together. And soon as the e-commerce company decides they will finish doing what they need to do on their end, those will be on for sale on our website as well. Anyway, that was my shameless plug.
No, it's good. It's important. People,
the
training behind it.
And the training behind, folks, please get professional training. If anything, take a Stop the Bleed course, take a CPR AED course. Those are the basics and build from there. And I've said it before, we just finally got approved to teach Stop the Bleed. So we're putting that together, and our course is going to be way more than just Stop the Bleed, because we want to make sure that people have the necessary skills to save a life. So, and I'll leave it at that.
I just like to mention too, like before, we haven't gotten to bags, but we're talking about gear still.
Yeah.
But there was something that was introduced to me that I kind of use. Like I said, I have the backpack in the back, and everybody focuses on that. I also have a chest rig. Now, in the military, they have a line type of system. So if God forbid you get separated from one piece of gear, so basically a civil, like in the military, there's a couple layers. Civilian is which is more fits us. You have your chest rig, you have your backpack, and then your EDC, your everyday carry.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about these, where do you keep your kit? If you keep that kit in the back of your backpack, like I do on my back, and also drop that for whatever reason, chest rig, you should have some stuff in there too,
Yes.
kind of, you don't want to kind of get crazy. Like either you want to have it in the backpack or you want to have it up front or whatever, but you should have some stuff. Maybe, God forbid, if you have to drop that. And people will, why would you drop your backpack? People are shooting at you. That backpack weighs a lot. I'll collect it later.
Exactly. And that's like me on my chest, one of my chest rigs, my first aid stuff is in front.
Okay.
And on my other ones, it's on the side, either left or right side of me. Yeah.
Now we have some military people in the chat, and this is where I learned from people. Like when I was talking to people, like I started setting up a rig, and it's like, what are you doing? Like if you keep stuff in the front, they're saying like if you have to go down in your belly, all of a sudden you're higher up in the ground. You might want to keep it on the side, maybe in your back, something like where you can kind of rip it off or whatever. So these are thoughts too that you might want to consider.
Yeah. And Jason in VA, welcome in. He said it's best to have different kits for different scenarios. Yeah.
See, the catch to that is we all want to keep stuff super lightweight. So the trick is it's easy. Look, I could have a 200-pound system, but I can't carry it. So you got to find that balance where it works, but it's not too heavy, which is tough.
Yeah. And Coffee First said, I took a stop to bleed. My job offered it. It was good, but not long. And we did it once. I don't feel confident with just that class. Coffee, you're absolutely right. And I'll say this, and even Whiteside Tactical Solutions talked about it. Their Stop the Bleed course is 4 hours because they do CPR built in with their class. And that's the same way ours is going to be. So that, a basic Stop the Bleed is 90 minutes and that's it. And you're done. But our courses are going to be more in depth so that you feel confident. When you walk away, you're going to know how to pack a wound, how to use pressure, how to use a pressure bandage, how to use a tourniquet, and all of that stuff. But yeah, take it again if you can, from a local fire department or whoever. Take it again if you can. Coffee.
There's a place near us because she lives near me.
Mm-hmm.
Medicine in Bad Places. I've taken his courses. He's very good. The one thing he adds to that, he's very thorough. He used to be a New York City police paramedic. Was it paramedic, EMT, or whatever? He was in charge of it. So he ended up doing his own, after he retired, his own thing. But he did a lot of scenario training, which I thought was awesome because he hits you with stuff that you didn't expect, which is good. You think, like when I do stuff, I think of the steps. That's how I do things.
Yeah.
I make sure the scene's safe. Then you do this, then you do that. And all of a sudden he hits you something. Like there was one particular scenario where you walk into a room and there's a car there and you see a person. They basically have an eyeball hanging out of his head. And now you're in shock. Like you're like, holy cow. And then you see like some shoes on the ground, like some baby's shoes. And then all of a sudden, so you go to that person. Oh wait, there's a woman over here. So you go to the woman. What you don't realize is the woman has an infant underneath her.
Yeah.
So it's like now you're treating 3 patients at once, all different things. Now you spread out in a group, and it's like wow, you never think of this stuff. So not only are you doing the training, but now you're doing it under stress.
Yes, under stress for sure. Jason, that's awesome. Congratulations to your daughter for passing her NREMT test. Awesome. The COO will be a registered nurse as of April of next year, folks. So she's doing her thing. Shout out to her.
Great.
Yes.
Now you need a doctor, and you're set. You have everything.
Well, I'll be close. I'm gonna end up with a physical therapist. My son wants he wants his major in school is going to be exercise science.
That's
right. So he's either going to be a physical therapist or a strength and conditioning coach. I think he's leaning more towards physical therapy. So yes, at least he can keep the old man flexible. Okay. Yeah. So gear. We've talked about medical, which is everybody know that's huge for me. Have a good medical kit. Even if you have questions about the medical kit you have, or want to do or put together, email me, visionpreparedness@gmail. I can help you out. I can point you in the right direction, and some other stuff. Thank you very much. Just doing our best. I will tell her. Yes. Thank you, Miss D's Hollywood. Appreciate you. Be well. Have a great evening and stay safe. Okay, we have been here for 2 hours. Let's get to the good stuff so these folks can get home. There you go, Love and Life. Get your mind right, get your grind right. And my number one prep is my mental preparedness, folks. And it should be everybody's. Okay, bags. Let's talk about a bag.
It's a tool, whatever works for you. There's all different types of bags. There's military type bags. There's ultralight type bags. There's really backpacking type bags. There's gray man type bags. I mean, and there's probably a whole bunch I'm not even mentioning. I told you that I'm not a fan of gray man. Not that, like, if you get one, like, oh my God, you got one. If it works for you, that's great. In my situation, I don't think I can make it work. There's pros and cons to each one. The backpacking one, the nice thing about that is there's a lot of stores out there. One of them I would recommend is REI, because they have a very knowledgeable staff. If you don't know anything, you can go in there. They'll fit them for you. They'll tell you the pros and cons of the pack. The ultralight packs, they're great. You want to be ultralight. The only thing, I'm not an ultralight guy. I can't really tell you. I know people that have them. But if you have to put them through tough conditions, can they hold up? And your gear has to match it. So depending on what you're bringing, during your bug out weekend, Mike mentioned something that I kind of had to revisit. What if you bring like stuff like crowbars and stuff like that? Because you're in an urban type setting.
Yep.
And that handle the weight, because those packs, the ultralight, and you have to carry a certain amount of weight to them. Samsonite bag,
Wait, only Mad Chad would come up with that.
Military bags. My bag's a mountaineering bag, but everybody thinks as a military bag. I don't really care if it's that type of situation. Everybody knows that it's game on. I think everybody's a target. But what I like about our bags is they're bulletproof. There's Molly to them, so you can put stuff on the outside. Now, am I a big fan about keeping stuff to the outside? No.
Yeah.
But if you have to, you can. Also, too, when you talk about bags, what's important is there's like rucksacks, which basically is one big compartment. You might want to have, if you carry those type of bags, you're going to have to compartment have stuff like dry bags in them to kind of keep everything in order so you can grab them. You want to pack it a certain way. I like bags that have certain pockets. Like when I go, everything on the outside of my bag and pockets, like I need my water. I need this. I need that. I'm going to keep that stuff to the outside. Everything else I'm going to keep on the inside. My sleeping bag and sleeping bag compartment. The frame itself. You good? All right. The frame itself.
Oh, yeah, hold it down. I'll be right back.
The frame itself. You want something that's adjustable. You want to get it fitted. The straps, you want to get something that's comfortable on you. The waist pad is probably one of the most things, because that's going to carry most of the weight on your of the pack. So there's a lot of different things that you want to think about. I will stick with. I'm reading the comments now. I will stick with the Everly Stock G4 operator bag or gunslinger. Dan, the Everly Stock is a good brand. I have a whole bunch of them. I do not have that one. I saw somebody else at our trip that had the G4. It looked pretty cool. The only thing I would ask you is, how does it fit your gear? I know it carries a rifle in there. You can kind of fold it down and fold it in. I don't know. But Everly Stock is a great bag. If you know people that have them, check it out. And that's it. That's my presentation. Thanks.
Yeah, I heard the lion roar, and I was like, really, dude?
We've been out here a long time. But basically what I was saying is, have the bag fitted, have the right, how the bag feels on you is important. Having the bag fitted is incredibly. There's adjustable frames. There's the waistbands are great. Dan keeps on mentioning like it hides a rifle, the G4. Actually, Jason, Mike's friend, had one. I was checking it out. It was a really cool bag. I have a whole bunch of them. They have different ones for depending on what you want to accomplish.
Yep, my bag will carry 2, and it hides it well.
It does. I didn't know.
Exactly,
and
that's why I got it, and I like it, and it does well.
And that's what I was saying about the Gray Man. You're absolutely right. Like, you know what? It works for you. Use it.
Yeah, it works for me. And folks, that's the biggest thing. What works for you works for you. If you have to get, hopefully you don't have to carry a Samsonite bag, like Mad Chad said. That's the ultimate Gray Man bag. But how many movies have we seen where folks are running around with Samsonite luggage bags, throw them in the car, and they get shot and hit the ground and bust open and everything goes everywhere? Yes. But get the gear you guys need, okay? That works for you. I hope this has helped or at least pointed you in the right direction. The Prepared Irishman is very knowledgeable, regardless of what he says. I'm telling you. And I got a project that I'm going to pull him in on something I'm building here at the house. And he's good. And with that, what I'll let you give parting words, Prepared Irishman.
Thank you for having me. It's really weird being on this side of the live stream. I'm usually throwing comments at you guys, throwing my wise ass comments at you guys. But I'm sorry that I didn't respond to some of the people in the chat as much as I could because I was concentrating more on you than them. But thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. It was really fun.
Absolutely, folks. And if you haven't, hit the thumbs up, share it out if you like. We appreciate you for everything that you've done. Thank you all for joining and staying with us for 2 hours and 9 minutes.
Sorry.
and that's okay. But with that, folks, remember this. Keep prepping because your family depends on you and it depends on your life. God bless everybody. Enjoy what's left of Independence Day. Eat some good food. Stay safe. And we will see you in the next video. Vision Preparedness. God bless everybody.
Good night, everybody.
I'm Trent, and this is Vision Preparedness.